Okay, we're all set.
Okay. I'll call this meeting to order then of the Bowling Green, City of Bowling Green's Planning Commission. This is our April meeting. And Jamie, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bhatti? Ms. Broadwell?
Here.
Ms. Ennis?
Here.
Mr. McComber?
Here.
Mr. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Remus?
Here.
Ms. Sleek?
Here.
Mr. Spittler? And Mr. Stalter?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our meeting last month in March. The minutes have been distributed to all the members of the commission ahead of time here. Are there any additions or deletions or corrections to those minutes? I do have a small correction, actually, Jamie. Twice in here, it was written up as Mr. Phillips read the annex. Mr. Phillips read the interim zoning. It was me. That was from the previous month when I wasn't here. I was looking at 2 meetings ago when Joe chaired the meeting.
I saw that too. I was like,
Okay, I'll get that corrected. Sorry about that.
No problem. All right, if there are no other changes, then the minutes are approved as otherwise handed out to us. Next on the agenda is our lobby visitation. It's a chance for anybody who wants to address the commission about any topic that's not on tonight's agenda to come up to the microphone and give us your thoughts. Does anyone wish to address the commission tonight? All righty, then I'll close lobby visitation. We are moving right along to the subdivision section. We've got 2 items here to consider tonight. The first one involves a preliminary plan extension for Cogan's Crossing, plats 9 to 14. Heather, do you want to tell us anything about that?
sure. So this is a preliminary drawing for plats 9 through 14 of Cogan's Crossing. Plan Commission originally approved that plan back in April 5th of 2023. Those approvals are good for 1 year, so they are here for an extension of that approval. And essentially, it's exactly the same thing, so it's nothing new. You had an aerial view in your packet. I have an aerial view on the screen. And then you had a copy of that preliminary drawing in your packet. I do have a larger size if you want to review that more closely. It's just a little more affordable to bring them to the meeting rather than give you the large copies. I know the engineer is here if you have any questions for him. Otherwise, that is it.
I just have one question for you I thought of, Heather. The Planning Commission approves a preliminary plan, and then the folks that got that approval have a year. Is it a year to start construction or a year to finish construction? Or, I mean, what happens at the end of a year if they're in mid-construction?
So it's basically the preliminary drawing is that lasts a year, that approval. So they're under construction right now for Plat 9. So once Plat 9 is close to being done, you will see the final plat for 9. And it just kind of depends on the timing on when they end up starting the next plat for 10. You know, it could be 5 years later, it could be a year from now. It's just a timing issue, but our subdivision regulations say 1 year for the preliminary drawing.
Okay, one year from the preliminary drawing to begin construction?
Well, you can start construction within that year, but first the city has to approve the construction drawings, and that's normally what happens. So once, you know, preliminary drawing is done or approved, then we'll get the construction plan soon thereafter.
Okay.
Which also have to be approved, right?
By our city staff, correct?
Yep. Is it normal for extensions like this to need?
Yes, it's very normal.
Okay.
In the heydays of our housing boom before the recession, it was very normal to have these regularly on the agenda almost every month.
So why is it a year then if it's normal? Should it be longer?
That's a good question. You know, that's part of why we're updating our subdivision regulations, hopefully starting this year. I'm not guaranteeing that, but that definitely is something we want to update
Okay.
among several other
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions for Heather or the city engineer? Okay, I guess we need a motion then, Heather, and vote on it. I'll make the motion to extend the preliminary plan timeline.
I'll
Well,
second that. Oh, or someone else will second that? We're all good?
Okay, we're all set then. Jamie, you want to call the roll?
Ms. Broadwell?
Yes.
Ms. Ennis?
Yes.
Mr. McComber?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Remus?
Yes.
Ms. Sleek?
Yes.
And Mr. Stalter?
Yes.
Okay, the motion is approved, 7-0. Next, Heather, we have a replat of BG Interstate. Want to tell us about this? What's happening here?
Sure, absolutely. So this is a replat of Interstate BG subdivision. It involves in lots 7114, 7116, 7117, 7118, and 7119. These in-lots currently have, basically what's happening is that the configuration of the 3 lots that are currently there at the northeast, well, I'll call it the southeast, I'm sorry, southeast corner of Dunbridge and East Wooster, they're proposing to have those as 2 parcels instead of the 3. And then currently, there's 2 private roads there, west and east, that they would like to dedicate to the city of Bowling Green as public roadways. So as part of that transition, the city is requiring that a financial guarantee be submitted, which they did prior to being on the agenda, that will cover the work of what we call milling and filling those roads to bring them up to our standards, so we're not accepting roads that are, in need of repair. So we did collect that financial guarantee. Once this is approved, the owner has time to implement that mill and fill of the roadways. I believe he's getting bids now to do the work. And then there's some sewer repairs as part of this. I do know the owner is here and his engineer, if you have specific questions about that. Again, we collected that financial guarantee. The roads will be renamed too, as you saw in my memo, because we can't accept roadways that are, duplicates basically, west and east. There's a lot of streets that would have west and east in front of the name. So they did rename those roads once those are approved. Otherwise, I think that's it. Kind of give you a quick overview on that. I also have the replat on the screen. Again, I know it's hard to read, and then I have a larger set if you want to see that closer. But essentially, again, it's taking 3 lots to 2 here on that corner, and then showing those roads as public roads instead of private.
This is across the road from Myers.
Correct.
Okay, is there anything there now?
That Holiday Inn Express technically was part of that original plat, so that would be really the only developed property within that subdivision. But they're not, obviously as part of this, have that lot within the replat, because that's already developed.
Does this happen very often, this replat?
Yeah, we've had a couple replats. I wouldn't say it happens often. We've had one, I think it was called Indian Trace. We had one there where they replatted there. They wanted to change the setbacks. They were 35, I believe, in the front, and they went down to 25. And we had one, actually, it might not have got filed. Some of the times they're filed and then they change their mind and they don't move forward with changes. It was for a lot reconfiguration that I don't think happened.
So I take it, in general terms, the owner has to basically pay us the money that we need to expend to bring the roads up to snuff and any other improvements that might have to be made because of the replat. Is that essentially
Correct.
what's
So
happening?
what a financial guarantee is, if the developer owner doesn't follow through with the improvements, then the city has the money to cover that and do it ourselves if we needed to.
Okay.
So the money is returned to the developer once the work is done, and it's done according to the city specifications. Our project inspector does make sure that happens before the money is returned.
Is there a period of time that work has to be done by?
No,
There's no deadline?
because basically you don't get your money back, so most people want that substantial amount of money back. So
They get it done.
it's very rare that we've had to implement a financial guarantee, at least in my years here.
Because I can't tell, so Granite Road that goes to Route 105, is that going to have ingress and egress out of that road onto 105?
So great question. That basically stays the same. So yes, it's essentially full access now, so you could make a right or a left. Same
But
for.
that's not going to change then?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then obviously you'll be a right and a left off of off of Dunbridge onto the other road?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Any other questions for Heather? Okay, well, in that case, I will make a motion that we approve the replat as proposed to us and documented in the material we've gotten. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Judy seconds. Jamie, call the roll, please.
Ms. Ennis,
Yes.
Mr. McComber,
Yes.
Mr. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Remus,
Yes.
Ms. Sleek,
Yes.
Mr. Stalter,
Yes.
and Ms. Broadwell.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 7-0. Next, we move on to the Zoning Board of Appeals report. And Judy, you said you'd have something for us this
I
month.
do. We had two requests for variances. The first one was Deborah Carpenter at 1730 Dolly Drive, requested a variance to allow the construction of a 14-foot by 20-foot addition, which was a deck, which would encroach 1 foot 6 inches into the 30-foot required rear yard setback to the north. That request was unanimously granted. The second one was Logan Kirkpatrick at 316 Buttonwood Avenue, has requested a variance to allow the construction of an 18-foot by 66-foot driveway, which would be 8 feet wider than the 10-foot maximum width allowed. That also was unanimously passed. And interestingly enough, we have 4 driveway requests for next Wednesday, so
All right.
that is the end of my report, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Thank you, Judy. Heather, do you have, where'd Heather go?
Thank you.
Oh, there she is. Okay, Heather, you have a report for us? Apparently?
Yes. Can't skip a month without a report. We have too much going on we have to share. So our permit totals so far are actually quite high, I would say. We've had 90 so far this year compared to 61 at this time last year. We've had 10 single-family housing starts compared to 9 at this time last year. We've had our first applications for accessory dwelling units. So we've had 2 of those. If you remember, that's a new allowable use within the new zoning code. We haven't had any new multifamily, commercial, industrial, or institutional. And again, this is just focusing on new construction, new buildings at this time last year or this year. And then as far as permits that we have issued since last time we met, we have an addition to Ohio Logistics, which is at 134 Woodgate Drive, and we've had plans approved to alter the building a bit at 1080 South Main Street for Harbor Freight. Permits on hold or under review, Quick Trip, new construction, southeast corner of East Wooster and South Dunbridge. Precision Alloy is doing a pretty large addition at 726 Innovation Drive. Brought House has applied for an addition at 115 East Court Street. And then Black Swamp Players is doing a parking lot and driveway at 115 East Oak Street, and that actually is on the next zoning board agenda. As far as subdivisions, we have the replat that we mentioned tonight for interstate commerce. The staff is finishing review of that construction drawing. It's pretty much almost done, and very minor revisions, but they already submitted that financial guarantee based on all the major issues we had to deal with there. And then construction plans for Cogan's Crossing Plat 10. Staff is also reviewing those, so that subdivision's moving pretty quickly from Plat 9 to Plat 10. And Plat 9 is still under construction, as I mentioned earlier. Also, again, mentioning final plat of 9, we'll probably see that fairly soon, I'm guessing in June, for Planning Commission to review that. And then construction is underway for Wood Acres, which is on East Gypsy Lane over by the Wood County Board of DD. They're doing that small subdivision there, if you remember that. As far as other updates, access management policies and guidelines, the update has started with that document. That's really important to our department. And we need a representative for Planning Commission to help be on the steering committee for that. It's really important, so we have at least someone that's able to kind of understand how that, how those guidelines operate. And we would really like to have someone. And if you could kind of, I don't know if you want to think about this after today or think about it tonight, who may be interested in being a representative. It probably would be best if it was someone that was a little free during, more free during the day, since staff is mostly on the steering committee.
How about you, Mark? How about you,
I
Mark?
was just going to say, I'm happy to do it.
Okay,
I was on actually both of those. I was on the land use planning and the community action plan.
We'd
I'd be
love
hap-
to
I'd be
nominate
happy
Mark.
to do it. Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. Well, if no one else is fighting you over it, we will happily,
yeah.
Take
If somebody
you.
else has an interest, like obviously I don't want to step on toes,
I
but
was
I'm
going to
happy to
arm
do it.
wrestle him, so that
I need two hands.
Okay, thank you, Mark. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
yes, thank you very much. I will be in touch about that. And I already mentioned the subdivision regulations update, hopefully later this year after we get some of these other big projects done. Also wanted to give you an update on city council. They did hold a public hearing for interim zoning on the annex properties that Abbott owns on Nims Road and the other two on North Dixie. And they did go ahead and approve the IE innovation and employment zoning that Planning Commission had recommended. And I wanted to let you know for your calendars that the State of the City address, which is organized by the Chamber of Commerce, is going to be on April 18th at 8 a.m. in this room. And if you could RSVP for that, that would be great. And having our Plan Commission members there would be great to hear all the progress in the city that the mayor will discuss. I think that's it, beyond mentioning that I'm continuing some edits on the zoning code that you'll probably be seeing in front of you soon. My list grows by the day, but I will be focusing on priorities because we just have so much going on. I want to make sure we concentrate on the various edits that I need to happen into the future, or at least share with you to start reviewing. So might be next month that I have something for you to review.
Okay, appreciate your report, Heather. Anybody have any questions for Heather?
Great job, Heather. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anything else for the good of the order tonight? Then I think we are adjourned. I heard a motion and a second somewhere.
But with our feet, huh?
Let's say I moved and you seconded it, Judy.
Okay.
And we will see everyone in May, and most likely.